Yeah, I think something that is going on right now is this carnivorous diet, and men really feeling like they're super strong, and you know, that masculinity issues that some people have, and they kind of almost want to compensate by eating more meat because there is like somehow association between murdering animals and looking masculine.
Yes, somehow, you know, talk about toxic masculinity. There's no more powerful, potent, frightening manifestation of toxic masculinity than that directed to, you know, that caveman image that, I'm a caveman, I eat meat, you know, let me kill something and tear its flesh. One, it turns out that's a myth. When they examine what the Paleolithic people really ate, the vast majority of calories that came into the Paleolithic camp were gathered by the women who spent all day digging up roots and tubers. We were starch eaters then. We're starch eaters now. Starches provided the majority of calories. Most hunts were unsuccessful. Most times the guys came back empty-handed from hunting.
Or didn't come back.
Or didn't come back. And if they did drag a carcass into camp, it rotted within days. There's no refrigeration. This idea that, you know, every caveman had a mastodon in the freezer and spent all day eating mammoth meat. I'm a caveman, that's what I do. It's nonsense. We were starchivores then, and we are starchivores now. I mean, we're starch eaters back then. So the reality is that the whole image is wrong. You know, we can talk about the unjust aspect of it at all. If these people really had to go out and kill the animal and butcher it themselves, there'd be a lot fewer meat eaters. It's a lazy way to nourish yourself and destroy the earth along the way. As a physician and someone who cares about the earth, the major issues are certainly what large-scale animal agriculture is doing to planet Earth. It is the #1 driving force to global warming, cutting down the forest, the soil erosion, pick an environmental disaster. Our voracious appetite for animal flesh is driving the animal production industry that's driving all this environmental destruction. It's us. We've met the enemy, and they is us as far as the environment goes in our environmental future. But as a physician, I'm looking at these guys eating meat, and I'm thinking, what are they doing to their arteries, walls? What are these guys are setting themselves up for an epidemic of strokes and heart attacks? What are they doing to their gut flora? They are spawning microbes down there that erode into the gut wall. They're going to get colitis and Crohn's disease. Or if you want to set off a colon cancer, I don't know a better way to do it than pack a colon full of meat 3 times a day and let that rub on the colon wall. There's a high-fat diet. It clogs up your insulin receptors and sets you up for type 2 diabetes. When you cook the meat, nobody eats raw meat. When you cook the meat, you create these advanced glycation end products that damage the arteries in the brain. These guys are setting themselves up for a vascular dementia, and they think they're doing something, you know, life-affirming for themselves. The fact is they're setting themselves up for an epidemic of colon cancer, autoimmune disease, type 2 diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, and Alzheimer's disease. Then they say, well, you got to die of something, doc. Get my heart attack and die. Now, Mother Nature's got some tricks up her sleeve. I've been a physician for 5 decades. The worst thing in medicine is to get a stroke and not die, and spend your next 20 years in a wheelchair drooling with some pretty nursey wiping your backside because you can't reach back there with one hand. Takes the romance out of a marriage, to say the least there. Or get your heart attack and not die, but you lose 2/3 your heart muscle, so you get out of breath walking to the mailbox. Your world gets pretty short there, macho man. When I hear these guys saying, well, you gotta die of something, I hope that they don't encounter some very painful manifestation of that. So again, talk about toxic masculinity. It's so short-sighted. All they want, you know, they're focused on the taste of that steak in their mouth. That's the bottom line. Like these corporations, what's our bottom line earning? That's all they're focused on. What's that? I got a piece of steak in my mouth. I'm a macho guy. But the cost of that to them, to the planet, to the animals, to their health, is beyond measure, and we're all paying the price for it as the earth is getting warmer.